Bhavani here. I hope you are keeping well. I know it's a very difficult, challenging time frame that we live in. So this is really to help you, offer you that kind of holding space, and to sort of support you in any way I can, because I know virtually we can reach any of you anywhere, and especially whether you are isolating yourself, self-isolation, quarantine situation, whatever the case may be, eating complexities and challenges with disorderly eating and the stress that comes out of making decisions over food choices, shopping choices, storage choices, being around food when others are eating in the same house. All of this can be very triggering. Then add to it your um, issues around finance, security, job security, health concerns, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for somebody else, really doesn't matter, because when you are in that confined place, you could have two polar opposites, because you could be completely isolated or you could be completely bombarded with family members in the same house as you, or you could be completely void of food in your storage cupboard, and or the opposite side, which is bombarded with food in the fridge because you've stockpiled for a couple of weeks at least, and seeing food all around can be very triggering. And then of course the idea of not being able to go out suddenly, it's a strange thing, because we don't appreciate our freedoms until that is taken away from us. So I can relate to that. I definitely relate to that. I could go outside anytime I wanted to the nearest park, and I can jog, I can walk, I can go to my nearest river to just self-soothe. But the moment somebody takes that away from you and says you can't go, you can't spread these germs about, or you could be potential danger to your own family members or the people that are one step removed, or your community in your neighborhood, suddenly it literally is a very overwhelming condition, very overwhelming situation, that we all find ourselves in. So what I wanted to do, and what I wanted to really help you with this, is any kind of anxiety-provoking events that may or may not have anything to do with food and eating and choices and structure, and losing that structure and having a routine and then no longer having that routine, and everything is the same. And one moment you've got an office space, one moment you've got a dining table, the next moment you've got a restaurant that you can go to. Suddenly, food can be anywhere and everywhere, and again, that's a trigger for some of us. And then there's the people that can't work out, who rely on working out in a healthy, moderate way. And that could be very measured, very once a week, once a day, or, 2 or 3 times a week, that you used to count on to remain fit, healthy and fit. And then all of a sudden that's taken away from us. And we have to think about how we're going to create that opportunity to stay well and stay healthy and stay fit. But if you have the vulnerabilities of eating disorder like bulimia, binge eating, or anorexia, the compulsion, the OCD to do those things is going to rack up to an infinite amount. You're going to feel unsafe. You're going to feel really like somebody's pulled the rug from under your feet. The more something is taken away, the more your inner child is going to rebel against that reaction of forbidding a limit, because it's almost like we are back to that fight of parental voice, critical parental voice saying, don't do this, must do it this way. And then you saying, hell no, I will do my own thing because I'm an individual. I'm not going to follow your lead. I'm not going to follow your rules. I'm not going to seem to be conforming to anything that you set me. I want to choose. And just for the hell of wanting to choose yourself, you may do the opposite of what you know sensibly makes sense still. So, there's all sorts of relationship dynamics that's going on, and food dynamics that's going on, the health choices versus not healthy choices, and then add to it the whole the challenge that we all face at food availability in the supermarkets, even if you could go to it, will they be there? The things that you used to consider safe, the food that used to give you a sense of stability and groundedness and a sense of control, what if they're not available anymore? What if you are now only seeing all your trigger food, the sugary food, the additive foods, the ready-made foods, the takeaways, and all of a sudden, again, that's another safety that's been taken, ripped out of your world, and suddenly you are now having to make different sets of choices. Then there's a set of you that will feel guilty over, I'm able to have all this, but somebody out there on the same street might not be able to have these things, whether they can afford it or whether they are mobile enough and free enough to be able to access a supermarket enough to get these things on board. So there is all sorts of things going on. And first and foremost, what I want to say to you, all of us, absolutely all of us are going through this. So even though that may feel like we are trivializing and saying you're not the only one suffering or you're not only one that's experiencing these adverse conditions, it is still the case. It is still that, we are united in that this is all our common experiences. Some of us are challenged financially, some of us are challenged health-wise, some of us are challenged socially, some of us are challenged freedom-wise, some of us are challenged through recovery, some of us are challenged through space and mobility, and it takes all sorts of areas. Isolation, too much people, too many people are all on one in the same claustrophobic area, freedom being ripped away. So this 8 days or 7 days, I'm thinking now I will continue as long as I'm needed, whether you're my client or whether you're just a community that I nurture, that I provide a service for, help and inspiration to. I want you to be part of it. I want you to get these recordings every day around 7 o'clock UK time, Pacific time, 12 o'clock, and then Eastern time, 4 o'clock, 4 p.m. I want you to join as much as you can, if you can. So basically just come on board and you'll get a set of instructions in the morning. Hopefully, if you're in UK, that's the morning, because that's when I'm hoping to send it early in the morning, so around about 7 o'clock. And then do those activities. So the issue is, a lot of people are struggling with this lack of structure, and that's one of the biggest triggers. And then the moment you take away the structure, the safety is taken away. And my aim really is to give you some kind of a system, some kind of a help, inspiration, hopefully in the form of a task first thing in the morning. So you will get an email, and the email will say, try this or explore this or do this, and invite you to do this. So none of it is hard and fast rules. It's really is to see whether you can create structure in a place where there is no structure at this point in time, in order to bring about that routine, in order to bring about that sort of daily habit that's just partially lost for most of us. Okay, and then of course in the evening, the 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock touch basing, well, the chat that we're having now is really just to touch bases with one another, to feel like a community, to ask questions about some of the struggles that you might be having right now. Chances are everybody else is probably having their own versions of that too, including myself. I know that because, gosh, I got triggered when I couldn't get my porridge last week. For a whole week, I was saying this, sharing this to one of my clients this earlier on, and I said, gosh, I didn't think that I was that primitive in my reactions to not being able to have my early morning porridges. But there I was for a whole day, for a whole week that I went without it. Then the anxiety was getting to me, because that was one of the things that I could do. And then, of course, lactose intolerance, milk was another thing. So we're all going to find one of those things, a trigger that is going to make us feel really wobbly, a food that we can count on, or for medical reasons or otherwise is going to be taken away from us, or it's not going to be available to us, or not going to be enough of it, or people are going to push our buttons. So today's task was firstly to invite you to think about not bombarding yourself with all these crazy news flashes that just literally in our faces 24/7. So my invitation for you was to seriously just, limit the amount of bad news that you get in any given day. Maybe just catch the headlines, maybe just catch the bulletin section only so that you know that the bare essential of what's just changed, what's now the updated version from yesterday's version, and you know what's the latest.